Why? Everybody wants to know why. We're going to figure out why. We're going to ask those questions. Why?
Hey, look, we're live.
Hey, look. We're live.
Pop the chat out.
I like popping the chat out.
Pop in the chat. Where's all our peoples at?
Popping the chat. Got the Zoom. We got it minimized. We're here. Chatty chat. Oh, not that. Backing up. Welcome everybody back to the Power Stroke Tech Talk with A-Rod live stream. May, welcome. Greetings, salutations. ¿Cómo estás? What is happening? Welcome everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about, what up, Chris? Technician shortages and why that is. Why is there technician shortages? TJ 5130, what is up? Here from Bend, Oregon. No trucks at our dealerships. M. Linger. Hello. Tonight, I have reached out to Flying Wrenches Automotive. Mason, welcome. You guys check out his YouTube channel, Flying Wrenches Automotive. He is another Ford tech who is doing it right, trying to make a difference, get these Ford vehicles fixing it right the first time. That is what we always try to do when repairing our vehicles. And welcome, Mason.
Thank you.
We have also invited Ford Boss Me. He might be listening. He's going to be joining us here shortly. Austin Bros, no, nice work for you. Very proud of Mr. A Bro getting that transit back up, organized. Fourth, fifth time now taking all this apart. I'm really proud of you, man. I was talking with Chris, and I thought I shouldn't go anymore. You took it apart. You should have put it back together. I didn't bother you taking it apart. I didn't bother you putting it back together. I'm proud of you. That was a good deal. Yes, Chris, that is a very true statement. I agree with both of those parts. Electrician, what's up, Daddy? There are. I'm being vague, and I don't. Where's DS? Hello, DS. I don't know. DS is probably rocking the babies. He'll probably be here. Somebody already thumbs down us. Come on, for real.
Must be that guy from earlier.
It could be. It could be, and that's fine. That's totally fine. I want to talk mostly tonight. Like I said, about why we have some technician shortages and what is going on in dealerships on either why technicians are leaving. Our David Howell, what up? Why the dynamic is not correct for a correct work environment, I guess, really. I need to get Matt on here. He would be another individual to drop information and how the dealership, the flat rate, how that all commission based. Mason, he knows how it is, how when you stand around, you make no money. Not saying that standing around at work is exactly what you have to do, but understanding how to prioritize your time, getting onto the next job, being efficient, and using your time of 8 hours or more to make a living. Now, one of the things, VAV, One of the things that is pretty current in today's, not in today's, but in the news out in the Chicagoland area, Ford Asset Tech, what up? Is the strike that was going on with those technicians out there. Now, I believe there was, let me go here to my information. Repair driven news. It says Illinois law passed to boost dealership technicians' wages. Really quick, this first little paragraph will pretty much just be a synopsis of what this is all about. It says a list of complaints raised by dealership service departments in Illinois about their relationship with the car manufacturers when it comes to being paid for warranty work sounded as if they had been written by collision repair facilities, describing how they struggle to be paid by insurance companies. The only difference, the state of Illinois just passed a new law to address the dealers' issues. Now, what it comes down to is, when we have repairs done, Mason, we have warranty repairs and we have customer pay. Okay. I just looked up today. For an exhaust manifold on a Transit EcoBoost left-hand side, bank 2, go to SLTS and look at the same, and the labor time for SLTS for 2 is what you got paid for the 1 in Mitchell on Demand or All Data. I'm like, WTF? And
Right.
I see, an issue and a discrepancy on to why these techs went on strike. Now, this is something that I've had to deal with since the early 2000s. Noah Griffin, what's up, dude? Just talked to your boy up top. You just missed him. Appreciate you. And it's been just something we've had to really adapt with. There's no law in the state of Michigan. I don't know if there's something similar for you in Alabama. You guys are still the cash and warranty different times, right?
Correct. And I don't believe there's any kind of legislation or laws or anything really, focusing on that point there that you made. We basically do the same thing there that you're stating, the SLTS times, and then you got Mitchell, Pro Demand, All Data, something like that. And there's usually a huge difference between those times that I find huge.
It's like almost half.
But not only that, something that I actually ran into yesterday, it kind of almost goes both ways. So we use All Data where I work, and I actually, for an overhaul on a 6R80 transmission, SLTS time was higher than what the customer pay time was in All Data. And I feel like neither one of them are honestly very accurate when it comes to how long it actually takes to do something. I feel like Ford does, some more labor studies and whatnot, but I don't think either one of them's honestly accurate.
I agree. This guy asks a question: are you guys at the dealerships all non-union? My shop is a union shop, but we are a right to work state, and I don't want to be in the union. So I chose to opt out of the union. And
how does that union work?
I guess so.
What are some of the benefits from it?
That's why I chose to leave the union. The benefits, I guess, well, I mean, any union, there are certain steps that have to be taken for disciplinary, and they can't just fire you. I mean, if you do something bad, I'm sure they can, but if you mess up or something, they can't just kick you to the curb.
Right.
You got to be written up, or you got to be sent home, and you got to go talk to your shop steward, and he's got to represent you, the middleman. I'm looking at it. I'm paying all these dues every month. Not all
Mhm.
these dues, but whatever the dues are that I don't remember. They charge you $300 or something, $350 to join the union. You got to pay union dues every month. And I mean, like I'm not, make me feel like I'm getting a deal.
Right.
Let me get a free shirt or make me, I mean, I don't know. Like you
This
got
ain't
my back,
Snap on, my man.
you know, like
Yeah.
you got my back or something.
Right.
So you and I both know we come to work every day. We're there to do our job. We are producers. We are ones who are depended on. And I feel as long as you keep those in focus and you do your fucking job, you're not going to have a problem. Right?
Exactly. And
So,
that's
right.
my issue kind of with the union thing. I mean, we're literally sitting here talking about why there's a tech shortage right now. Dealers, I don't feel like are firing or getting rid of, people who show up and do their job and are, keeping up with the production. Like they can't hire enough of them. So why would they be firing the ones they have? So that's why I don't think that I would ever join a union, even if a dealer had one, kind of like you said there with yours.
Mm-hmm. It's different. I mean, I haven't been hourly in so long. I guess I can't really like, oh yeah, remember, yeah, getting all
Right.
that overtime. It's like you don't know what there is no overtime. It's
Exactly.
you try to cram. I don't want to say cram. You try to efficiently book your whole day, thinking about the next job you're going to be bringing. Okay, I got 2 hoists. If I take this one in, I'm going to have to down this hoist. Just trying to be, prioritize so that you can be as efficient as you can. And not having the right tools, not having the right equipment would be a reason why somebody would not want to be at that particular dealer. Now, I don't know what the aftermarkets are, if if the dealer and all the equipment and tools and programming materials and software and access to PTS, everything's up here and aftermarkets down here. It's like, well, is there pros and cons down here? Are there pros and cons up here? DS, we're going to welcome DS trucks. I think, how many do you drink today, A-Rod? See, 2 on lunch. Oh, probably like 5, man, maybe 5. I'll probably down another more. So probably a 6er. Where is he's connecting audio? There he is. Look at that Super Duty booty. The I forgot my train of thought. It was
Difference between
union.
aftermarket.
Yeah, the
Not having
aftermarket.
parts.
Pardon me.
Not having parts from Kelly.
Not having parts.
Causing the slowdowns.
Yeah, it's a big issue right now.
Even are you guys back ordered in your part, like getting stuff from depots too?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, we constantly have vehicles set out on the lot for months, waiting on, usually it's bigger things, engines and stuff of that nature. But I mean, just a long time to be without your vehicle. And, like you talked about earlier, kind of saying, with the loaner and the rental vehicle thing, that's the problem we ran into is these people, they're can't get parts for them. So their vehicle's down for months and we can't give them a loaner because we just don't have one on the lot. We don't have a rental or a loaner, and there's not a lot of rental agencies in our area. So that's been a big issue for us in the past year with the parts kind of crisis that we've had.
You a mechanic?
Yeah. Yep. Work Ford Tech.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a tough thing. Is like, especially with pickup trucks, man, it's hard to get another truck. It's hard to get a loaner. A lot of times you end up with a little car, a little 4-door car.
Right.
Now,
And
speaking of that happened to Vito. He might be listening. His truck is actually at Ford Boss Me's shop, Dundee Ford, and he's got some rear axle, pinion flange, drive shaft issues, and his car is his girlfriend's Kia. So he's coming in right now. Ford Boss Me coming to the live stream. 3, 2, 1. There he is.
Oh, we got a full house tonight.
Another Ford Tech. Another Ford Tech fixing it right the first time in the forefront. There's a lot of car hasn't. Yeah, that's true, Mr. Bill. Mr. Bill. Oh, he's got his head shaved today. Cheerio.
Ford Boss Me, thanks a lot for that shout out. I really appreciate it.
Did you see anything off of it?
Yeah, I definitely got to jump in subscribers. I usually do like 10 a day, 8 a day, whatever. And when that video went up, it doubled. It went to 20 for that day. And then it dropped back down, then it kind of went back up. So it's only been up for a couple of days. So it's definitely
It should stay out. It should still keep helping you, because I did that for WJ Handy Dad.
Yeah.
He's in the Panther platform cars, and his video, but like the community post that I put out for him, and his detailing and how like he makes it look easy, but he's really picky with how clean he details all his Ford vehicles.
I saw that. He was cleaning the engine.
Yeah, and it's still like people are still messaging me every
Did
day.
you know what? Like I noticed that some of the videos that I've done in the past where I'm working on Ford trucks all of a sudden seem to get kind of revitalized. I know when I did some upfitter switch wiring, that video I looked today, it got revitalized. So I think something's definitely happening from that plug you gave me.
Well, something happened with him as well. He sent me a message and he said, I think it's the Ford Boss elixir, because I just had 3 videos just blow up since you did that and just came back out of nowhere. And it's not that, it's just having somebody that has a decent amount of subscribers give somebody else a shout out, just to, we're all part of a community. That's what we should be doing anyway. And it kind of, I'm not wanting to just skyrocket and not take anybody with me as my channel's blowing up and I continue to do the hardcore, like Ford detailed, taking care of people. I want other people to come up with me. I like you guys as well, so.
Have you ever heard of Flying Wrenches Automotive?
Yeah.
This is Mason over here at the top. He is Flying Wrenches Automotive. I reached out to him as a Ford Tech and recognizing what he's doing there on his channel. So welcome Ford Techs. I'm reaching out.
I never heard of
get 'em on.
this. I never heard of Flying Wrenches Automotive.
Well,
Actually,
now you have.
I'm about to look it up.
When he first started out, I'd left a few comments there, and then I had pushed his videos to a few other people, hoping that it would take off. But I was such a small channel at the time, it never went anywhere. And now my channel's exploded because of, several viral videos. And I've been kind of hoping that, you put out something new where I can just grab it and share it back out there and let people know, hey, you got another guy down there. Aren't you in the South?
yeah, right on the Alabama-Florida line.
Yeah. So
You know what? I did see this video where you were talking about the cold start rattle. I did see that. Very cool.
Yeah, that's
I like your
been
toolbox. Your toolbox looks pretty sweet.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I actually bought that thing used. Got
Ain't
very, very little money in it.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
To all of the members, let me get to that. All the members, really quick. I'm gonna list all you guys out because we don't have that many, but I want to thank you guys, all you guys. The 3 Mutts, Mr. Dusty Lane, K&J, Buck Wald, Nathan, Happy Hour, Horsepower, Butch Tanner, Alex, Cramper, Richard Chupp, Hugh, my man Hugh, TJ, 5130, David Howell, and Ken Rocha. I think it's that. I Out of all of you guys, I'm going to pick one of you. I'm going to have my wife pick. So it's going to be totally unbiased. She has no
Yeah.
idea. And I am going to, via Hot Shots, I'm going to be giving away to you guys. I have 2 prizes, 16-ounce EDT or a 32-ounce of Diesel Extreme. So she's going to pick one. I'm going to reach out to you and get you guys hooked up with a pre end of the year Christmas Christmas gift. And all I need to do is get your informations. So yeah.
Hey, Ford
One-
boss. Hey, Ford boss, there is something I wanted to ask you. I don't
Mhm.
remember if it was a community post or a video or one of those, but it was about, I think it was about like a Panther. It had a high miles. You were talking
Mhm.
about the maintenance.
Right.
And some of that stuff is kind of the normal stuff you always talk about, 3,000-mile oil change, stuff like that. But I think when you brought up I think you brought up maybe the transmission service and the differential service, and then the brake fluid once
Right.
a year,
Right.
brake fluid. That's a controversial one because a lot of guys will straight up say they
There's
never.
no controversy there. Let's just cut right to the chase. When it comes down to it, there's been enough information out over the last 5 years where brake fluid has become more sensitive. It's gotten better. We're at higher boiling points and stuff now. Our
Yeah.
vehicles, a lot of people are still stuck with the old 15 to 20 year information, like every 3
Mhm.
years or something like that. And it doesn't work that way. In Ford school, in a lot of the manufacturer school and stuff like that, a lot of the advanced level training that a lot of the independent guys go to, they've been saying this for years now, that it's nice to actually get a decent flush every year, maybe maximum 2,
Yeah.
because a lot of these people, they'll try to fight you tooth and nail, and they're because they've done something or they did something for 20 years, but they've been out of the game for 10 to 20 years. They still think they're that same master tech that they were, and they'll try to fight you, and they act like, oh, I know this, I know that, I'm the guru when it comes to this. Brake fluid has been changing. You can literally open brake fluid, set it on the counter, come back a week later and make a little mark where it just keeps rising and rising and rising
wow.
and rising.
Yeah.
Because it's hydroscopic. It absorbs moisture. And with the amount of neglect that we give our brake system in general, and how there's, like me, every single day on my Discord, I'm posting all the time. Like this morning, a guy cut over into my lane because it was an old man trying to light a cigarette, and he wasn't even paying attention to what he was doing. And I jerked the wheel over to the left because he cut a tractor trailer off and pushed him over into my lane. And I'm looking at this guy as I'm passing by, and I'm like, luckily I had good brakes. Luckily I serviced everything. It's such a critical component. Why are we even having this conversation? Why do people even want to argue about this? It's cheap to flush the brake system out. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah. So at the dealer, how do they do it? How do they flush the system out?
Well, we have a couple different ways. We have like the professional machines that like Valvoline or BG or somebody will supply the dealerships. And we actually can hook up lines to all 4 wheels, and we can put fresh fluid in a tank, and we'll actually pump it into the system while it's sucking it out at the same time, and literally draw all the old fluid out of the lines and pull all fresh fluid in. But if the DIY guy wanted to do it, they have the Mighty Vac systems. Like I have my own handheld.
Yeah.
That it's really simple to use, and you just keep flushing it until you just get everything clear out of it. You can actuate the pumps on certain things, and most of the time, most of us have vehicles where we can just do basic flushes, and it will get us by a lot further than trying to do some kind of fancy BMW or Mercedes where you might need a specific tool to do all that.
Yeah.
Most of the Ford stuff, you don't need any of that. It's pretty basic stuff still.
I do remember not doing it on my vehicles in the past. And over the years, I would have caliper failures. And it would start with the furthest one from the master cylinder, then that one would go, and then next thing you know, like the rest would follow. So there's definitely something to it. There's definitely something to it as the vehicle gets into the high miles.
I had a guy message today, like he was looking at one of my videos, and he was like, well, how dare you press the brake caliper pistons back in without cracking the bleeder and letting all that old fluid that's inside
that's something that's kind of newer that I've seen on YouTube.
It's an option. It's an option to do it. But if the customer's been keeping up with their maintenance and stuff like that, their flushes and stuff are good. I'm not cracking a damn bleeder every time I get on a caliper to break that thing off and then have to owe the customer a $70 caliper.
Right.
It's not
Yeah.
going to happen. If I can
This
see
is-
that if they've been taking care of their vehicle and the fluid doesn't look like it's just nasty, and then if it really looks that nasty, the vehicle's probably rusty or corroded or they've never been cracked open. I'm definitely not about to try
Definitely
to crack
not.
that open and break it.
Heck no.
Yeah.
All the bleeder
This-
screws are all different sizes.
Yeah.
It's not
It's not-
Florida and Alabama where they open up every time.
Right.
Don't even
I-
get me started with you guys.
Whenever I've done brake jobs, I've always just be honest, I never cracked the bleeder, really, because that's something that kind of was newer on YouTube. But I've always just loosened the cap on top and just let it sit there, compress the caliper, and then tighten it back.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's going to push out of that cap either way. Like, so one of the huge things that I tell technicians to stop doing, and I've caught a lot of quick lanes doing it as well. When you see the customer's vehicle come in and there's low brake fluid and you're topping off fluids, do not freaking touch that brake fluid. That's one thing you do not do. If that brake fluid's low, there's a reason why it's low.
pads are low.
Just top it off.
There's a leak somewhere or the pads are low. We need to inspect the vehicle to figure out what's going on first before you just start dumping fluid in. And a lot of times we don't have fluid just sitting around for loop techs to just go dump in people's vehicles. There's a lot of times we can't get .4. We can't get things for the brake line recall and stuff like that we have to do. So sometimes that's sensitive. Like we run out of brake fluid for all those recalls when we came through with that slew of like new lines we had to put on the edges and stuff like that. We actually ran out and we couldn't get brake lines. And then they were like, maybe we should just order like 20 right hand, 20 left hand and just have them in stock. Well, when you do that and you're pulling from inventory, you're shorting inventory that's out there. So other dealers may have an issue getting it as well. And we did it anyway, because we had so many vehicles coming in where we were having to replace the brake lines on the edges. And what was it? There was like the Ford edges, and maybe that's the only one that I've seen so far. But anyway, I'm looking at what's going on, and these guys are taking the fluid that we have left over on our benches, and I'm like, look, man, leave my fluid alone. It's like that stuff's like worth gold right now. Don't touch it.
Right, and they're on .4 right now, I think, right?
Right.
So
And they were having some failures with the older system. The .3 system was having the hydraulic the units, the pump inside, some of the solenoids weren't working properly. And then every once in a while, like the first rain or the first snow would come along, and then you'd go to hit the brakes and the fusions and in the early model edges, right when the body style started to change, like 2012, 2013, and the pedal would go all the way to the floor. And then it would take a couple times for you would have to pump the pedal over and over again to get a nice firm pedal again. So what Ford did was they put out these technical service bulletins and recalls and all this other stuff to run the system through a hydraulic actuation, make sure everything's working properly. Do you feel the pedal pump back up? Do you feel it go to the floor? Do you feel it pump up? Do you feel it go to the, you had to do this 4 times while you're checking the ABS module. And if it passed all 4 sequences, then you would move on to the flushing side of it. You'd flush out all the old .3 stuff, and then you'd put all new .4 in the system because higher boiling point, it's the newer fluid. A lot of times they say don't do that, but Ford obviously thought their system was good enough to remove all the old, which this is another rule of thumb. This is why I tell guys all the time, don't believe every single thing that you hear from somebody in the field 10, 15, 20 years ago, because why do we have manufacturers now where they used to say, don't take this fluid and mix it with that? Well, now Ford's literally telling us, flush out all the .3 out of the system and fill it with .4, and you're fine.
I wouldn't be surprised if .4 was almost compatible with .3. It's probably kind of similar of a product. I don't know.
But you would think the normal Joe that's been in the field forever and knows everything, and he's all about the way we used to do it back in my day kind of stuff, that you wouldn't have a compatibility issue. I mean, there would be a compatibility issue there because that was the rule of thumb. Don't mix, don't do this, don't do that. The seals aren't compatible and stuff. Well, we're doing it and it's working fine.
Yeah, I do remember all the crazy stories though, like when oil gets into the brake fluid, how everything swells up, stuff like that. Yeah, I had some brake fluid horror stories. Horror stories,
Well,
running the master cylinders dry, stuff like that.
I see a lot of guys, they'll spill brake fluid on stuff and they'll grab rags and they'll wipe it up and stuff like that. It will destroy paint. And I was working at an independent shop back when I was like 19 years old before I went in the military. And there was a kid that spilled brake fluid on a red Corvette.
Oof.
And the owner seen it happen. As it was happening, the owner freaked out. And as he was freaking out, the owner of the garage saw it and he grabbed a big giant thing of water and spilled it on the car. And because it's hydroscopic, the water literally lifted the brake fluid off of the paint and washed it right onto the ground. So it didn't affect the paint and they were able to clean it all real quick.
That was my understanding. To use cold water when I was in school, they would say use cold water. I don't know.
You can dip your hand in brake fluid and then go in the bathroom, or don't go in the bathroom because, you know, EPA might be watching this, but go somewhere where there's a bucket of water and dip your hand down in the water and pull your hand out and there's no brake fluid on your hand and where it's gone. It's not even there.
Wow.
Thank you, Fred. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. I just thought of something, a question I wanted to ask Ford Bossman. Mr. Rich, dealer
Yes, sir.
man. Being at the dealer, I don't know how long you've been there. I don't want to know. That's a variable that doesn't matter. What is one of the things that keeps you at the dealer? Is it shop equipment? Is it maneuverability? Is it your area, your feng shui? What is like your
So
non-hasslest thing about your
there's not very
situation?
much keeping me at the dealer. I'm just going to tell you straight right now. But what does actually keep me there, that keeps me driving, to keep learning and stuff like that, is, do you know how many independent guys get a hold of me? Do you know how many independent guys want information from me? Do you know how many independent guys message me on my channel and are like, dude, thank you for everything that you do, because if it wasn't for guys like you, us, how would we know what's going on with these brand new vehicles when people are bringing them in, on whether or not we should be sending them to the dealer because there's a recall, there's a TSB? I'm learning all the freaking time, man, all the time. And I'm not having to go sit in a classroom where Ford's teaching me something. Don't get me wrong. I like that too, because they go more in depth on what's going on with the computer systems and stuff. But I'm learning every single day on all the new stuff that's going on. And I think to myself, if I wasn't in a dealer right now, I would be working on the same old every single day. And I would never know about any of the new stuff that was going on until it was years past. So now people have to come to me to have me help them. And it almost feels nice. It feels like almost empowering, the fact that I can go help other people and share the knowledge and just get them the information that they need to succeed. That's what keeps me doing this every single day, is me being able to learn all the new stuff, stay on top of everything. Plus today, 2008 F-150 exhaust manifold, studs, power steering pump, all that garbage, 5.43, and I still have that meat and that foundation of where we came from, and I'm still doing it, but yet still learning all this new stuff that's going on, so I can continue to feed and share with a community of guys that I just believe in. I believe that this is where I need to be. That's what it is. It's not the dealership. It's not the money. It's not any of that stuff. It's the fact that I'm always learning nonstop.
I can
That is
imagine
true.
that would be harder.
That is true.
I don't know. I don't know if harder is the right word, but if you were in a smaller shop, not a dealer, would you be working on like a lot older stuff? Like you were saying, 5.43 valves, F-150s, things.
I could be slaying labor, making boatloads of cash.
You'd be cleaning up.
Right. And it'd be super easy. But the challenge of what's going on when a new 2020 Ford Explorer comes in and the four-wheel drive unit's locked in and it won't come out of four-wheel drive, or something's going on with the transmission to where the auxiliary system isn't functioning properly, and Ford doesn't even have a pinpoint test out for that yet. And I'm digging into it. I'm pulling 30 hours into electrical problems and stuff like that. And then I'm the one that finds it and not an engineer. That
There's no
makes me
money in
cry.
that. Is there money?
There is when there's no pinpoint test and there's no TSB, there's no recalls. It's just straight time. It's M time. And
Okay.
and there's money in it, but it's the knowledge behind that. Now I can go up to these cars and say, a cop car is an 8-pin circuit. You're looking at a 12-pin circuit on that emergency brake switch. You're not looking at the right diagram. Go to this diagram, go to this pin. Here's the number 1 pin, go to number 6. This, go here, go here, go here, go here. And I'm like, it's all in my head now. And I can just go right up to one of these vehicles and I can help people that are struggling on it, where I wouldn't be able to do that at an independent shop or a slower shop. There's no way. A lot of the information is not even there.
And you
Well,
just said
Blue-
help. That's what we're trying to do. And I had just put up a post in the Ford Dealer Tech on Instagram, Facebook rather, just doing like an announcement. I never post in that group. I don't like here's another guy, he thinks he knows. Dude, that's not what I'm trying to do here, man. I'm trying to help you guys or bring light to a subject of what we're talking about sort of tonight. And I had a comment. He wasn't trying to be malicious or be derogatory, but when you read texts and stuff on Facebook, you don't know the other person's demeanor, and it's like I almost wish I could just talk to everybody, because it's like, well, this guy's kind of coming off being WTF, dude. And he said that I can't believe you're not verbatim. I to the effect, I can't believe you're making all this stuff and telling people how to fix their trucks, and you're basically hurting us. And the way I look at it, you owe us something. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you greedy sounding MFer.
But everybody's just because you're showing people how to do it, and not everybody's gonna get out there and fix their cars. And
Right. And it's silly for him to be in that mindset and to be even thinking like that, because I don't know if you haven't noticed, but there is a gabillion, I just made that word up, a gabillion
Works.
Super Duties in the US of A. Do you really think for 1 second that me giving out information that I feel I cannot keep to myself because I genuinely want to see the mom and pop people who are RVing, or the people who can't afford, who are on a fixed income, fix their truck by themselves?
Well, maybe it's a
Shame
thing
on
like
you.
maybe it's similar to what Ford Boss Me was saying, because he was saying like a lot of smaller shops are benefiting, not necessarily the consumer, because I can't see the consumer. They're not. I don't think that's really having an effect, because maybe some are gonna, pick up a wrench or whatever, but it's such a big jump to work on this. I mean, a lot of people are doing little stuff like Forescan. They're doing like little stuff like that. But when it comes to getting up under the hood and maybe doing like even an SNS filter, a disaster prevention kit, that's intimidating. That's intimidating, even for me.
What it does is it builds what A-Rod's saying. Flying wrenches over here, Tyler, right? Isn't it Tyler?
No, it's Mason.
Oh, Mason. Sorry, I
No,
apologize.
you're good.
So Mason, A-Rod,
Mhm.
and me kind of employed to the aspect of building that relationship with the customer, being able to put out good information, concise information, and letting them know we're not just some Joe Schmo that's trying to steal their money and stuff like that. The reason why we're making these videos and stuff is not only to educate them, it's to keep them safe whenever there is safety issues. It's to let them know that they are in good hands whenever they do go to a dealership. It's building a better rapport with them, because there's a lot of people out there that automatically have this mindset. When you go to a dealer, you're going to get ripped off. And I've had plenty of other dealers where I've got their work and it's been
Stealership.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The Stealership.
I don't.
When we get in front of this camera and we show them what's going on, we explain to them what's going on, we're confident in the work that we do, and we can show them results. It builds relationships with people out there that are buying new vehicles. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not I'm not stealing from your pocket or something. There's nobody else who wants to do this damn job. We're having a hard enough time getting techs in the field right now anyway. So if you think that I'm stealing
Exactly.
money from your pocket, you're
Don't
kind of,
waste my time.
yeah.
We're
It
just
doesn't
trying
make any
to-
sense.
We're just trying to add on to a certain Ford guy that left
He
us.
does.
I mean, in all
DTR.
rationality. In all rationality.
DTR. Ford, the community, our community. I don't want to say the Ford community, our community, the technician community, the diesel community. That was the dude, Diesel Tech Ron. He was who we were watching, and
Everybody adored him. Diesel Tech Ron would go out of his way not only
His-
to help the regular DIY guy, he would help the
Mhm.
technicians out. He would help people out all across the world. And he was one of the original OGs that started this movement, that people started jumping in slowly as they felt comfortable and stuff, so they could show people that we're not all out to rip you off. And there is some things that you can do at home that you don't need to come to the dealership for. And I'm going to be honest with you about them because I'm an honest person. Now, if I feel like this is a level 7 out of 10, and you're probably more stuck at like a level 2 or 3, you probably should bring the vehicle into me and let me handle it for you. But if I
Correct.
know you can take an exhaust clamp off of an F-150 that's rattling while you're in drive and foot on the brake, and you hear it, or in between shifts, you can hear that rattle, climb under there, take a pair of pliers, yank the damn thing off, the rattle goes away. It's that freaking simple. You don't need to come
Yeah.
into the dealership for that.
Well, I remember I'd known Aaron for a while, and I never really like sat down and watched his channel. Like, yeah, I knew that he had this channel and everything, but one day I sat down and watched it, and it just kind of like played back to back. Before you know it, I'm like, I've been through the 6.7 so much. And I think at the end of the day, even if a guy's not gonna start, I remember he was doing like EGR cooler, something he was doing to the EGR cooler. But if you could just have a little bit of knowledge when you went into the dealer, just so that you're just not clueless or in the dark, I think that's a huge thing. It doesn't mean you're gonna do it yourself or anything. You just have some kind of knowledge when you go in. So yeah.
Well, look at the video that old
he
See
was
where this
already
going.
he was already brought up here in the comment section. I was like, I'm gonna tell on you because somebody don't. I'm telling on
So
you.
I have I know Mason has information out on the eco boots and stuff as well, but I
Mhm.
think I literally have the most information on the internet because I kept posting and kept posting and kept posting and kept posting. And then guys were taking my videos and posting it into their forums and stuff. And then a lot of my videos started to blow up. And when you see somebody that's as big as him take a customer, the guy's on my channel, he's literally subscribed to me. The guy that was the car that was in Scotty's video is a subscriber of mine. And
That is awesome.
instead of bringing
That is
the
awesome.
vehicle to me and letting me take care of it, he took the vehicle to him to let him do a video on it. And I'm like, bro, what are you thinking?
What?
It's all of us that are doing this stuff every single day. We could have got you taken care of. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. Figured out what it was. But you took the freaking vehicle to an internet celebrity and entertainer, and you let him go ham on the video, and you didn't do anything for the community here. You let somebody make fun of a product and say a bunch of stuff that he had no idea. So I had to do a rebuttal video.
That is so funny, bro.
So I had to go in and actually explain where the faults could be with this type of system based on what I've seen, because I did a short block. It made it 10,000 miles down the road. There was no issues with it at all. And then all of a sudden starts running rough. 2 oil changes later, comes into the shop. I'm reading the previous technician's pinpoint, and he went the complete wrong direction with the pinpoint. It literally said on DG7, check the fuel quality, or you got to look at NOx sensors, DG6, DG7 in the pinpoint test. So I'm reading through it. I'm like, okay, so the technician obviously didn't do his pinpoint test right. Let me check fuel quality. Let me smell the fuel. Let me see water separation. And then all of a sudden, it's obvious. It's right in front of my face. Look at all the water in this fuel. Look how it smells, just like straight damn ethanol in here. Like something's really wrong with this fuel. I go put fresh fuel and stuff in it after I pull a lot of the fuel out. Start driving it on the highway. 75, 80 mile an hour. And then all of a sudden I start seeing my spark advance come down, normalizing as it's relearning fuel and stuff. And all of a sudden the motor quietens down. It was nothing with what I did. The lady literally got some bad fuel and several technicians misdiagnosed it. Well, then I'm looking at,
Wait a
Scotty.
second. Is this the Scotty one where he like starts it up and he goes, "It's loud. Listen to how loud the motor is."
Yeah, that's
That one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I created the video where I screenshotted or screen recorded all of my situations that led up to a nice story to put out there in the middle of him playing his video to let people know, if you don't know the computer systems, if you don't know these vehicles, you don't really have any business out there giving people advice and stuff on what's going on and talking bad about a product. We do this stuff every single day. We deal with these vehicles every single day. We know what's normal and what's not normal. And you're literally subscribed to my channel and you took it to the biggest drama queen, social media entertainer, and you let him do a video on it. And it's kind of like a kick in the shrimp to me. I'm like, what the hell, man?
I think that rebuttal video you made was pretty good. I don't think you said anything.
No,
I mean,
I
you
didn't
kept it
wanna
really professional, I think.
that was my goal, was let's keep it professional. Let's keep it on all the different situations and scenarios. Let's put out some information on what we need to be looking at to figure out, did the technician install the timing belt, as he called us clowns and stuff in his video? And I'm like, okay, I wouldn't have been mad if you wouldn't have started with all like the bashing of technicians and stuff. First of all, if they would have put the timing belt on wrong, it wouldn't have made it 16,000 miles with no correlation codes, no nothing at all. There's no way that it would have lasted that long. There would be some definite issues here. And what you're explaining to me, it sounds like there's a fuel issue. There could be a torque converter issue with this vehicle, because I've had torque converters starting to shudder. When you look at the pressure and the current, they start bouncing all over the place under a little bit of like uphill acceleration. And that was one of the main points in his video, was when the customer is going uphill under a pretty decent load, all of a sudden it starts shaking and shuddering, almost like it's misfiring. Well, I've done plenty of videos, or I've done plenty of vehicles where I've had to replace torque converters in people's vehicles because it feels the same as a misfire. And guess what happens when it starts shuddering and stuff like that, and knocking and the vehicle shaking? Knock sensors, you can start to show timing issues and stuff like that, because all this transfers through the motor. It can pick up. Timing may look a little off, but if you know what you're looking for, you can unlock the torque converter and redrive the vehicle and see, oh, wait a second, it's not misfiring. Guess what? It wasn't misfiring to begin with. It was torque converter shudder. And
so when you did that live stream about my video, I think you mentioned that he had said something. I can't remember exactly what. I was looking for the video. You said he did a video, or he said something.
He did a video on me and he gave me a huge shout out. My channel started to really climb up, you know, overnight, maybe a couple of days. I went up about 12 to 1,400 subscribers since then. And he took a video of mine where I was showing an extreme case of sludge on a 2016, 15 F550 or something like that, where it's only 27,000 miles on it. And it only basically sits, it's a big, long, giant lot. And they use it to move auction cars from one end of the lot to the other, off of semis. When they don't run, they got to move them around, and it just sits and idles and idles and idles and idles. And it's a bunch of young people that pretty much run the truck. And I'm pretty sure they probably don't care because they don't get paid enough to care. And he saw that video and he opened up his initial video with my video. Hey, if you haven't seen this guy Ford Boss Me, and then, you know, maintenance, and something about if you let your vehicle idle, you're stupid, here's why, or something. And then he used my video to open his, and he gave me a shout out, pinned
Rev up your engines.
Except if you use my version, fuck up your engines.
Did he use your?
Yeah, he took my pictures, and
But that's a good thing for you. You know, that was.
Yeah, so in that video, I tried to stay pretty positive.
Yeah.
But I tried to point out the facts. I tried to point out what you're looking at, and what you're saying based on PID data and stuff. And you're saying, oh, cam sensor A is like, okay, negative 27, and now positive 32. See, it's out of range with what this aftermarket scanner right here wants to see, well, that aftermarket scanner is not set to every manufacturer's standard. It's a general, just basic standard.
Well, the thing is, when you're a dealer tech, when you're a good dealer technician, that's hard to replicate when you're a Scotty Kilmer and you're not in the dealer.
Right.
So whether or not he's a good guy, I'm sure he's a good guy,
Right.
in real life. But I mean, like you were saying, you're not putting down good information.
Well, I mean, he was calling us technicians clowns, and they didn't install the timing belt correctly, and that's the only way that cam would have been reading. It was only position A. I was like, where's the fuel quality? Where's the command? Where's what it's actually doing? Where's all these other this PID data that you could have pulled up to look at to see if indeed your theory about them installing the timing belt incorrectly was the case? Because I've never seen a timing belt installed incorrectly that didn't throw a code pretty quick after not 16,000 miles later. I mean, that's a whole year
Almost
worth of route.
immediately.
As soon as you start that boy up, you would have been like,
Something
Yeah.
would have been wrong, especially
Yeah.
on an interference engine. I mean, you would have
Yeah.
had some issues, but I don't know. Anyway, the guy did say something nice about me or whatever. He didn't say.
But that
anything
doesn't give him a pass.
That's not a pass to then follow up with multiple Ford videos saying these suck, these suck,
Right,
these
right.
suck, these suck, don't buy, this engine sucks. Like, no, bro, hey, check that. I don't need the shout out. I'm about to check you right now because what you're saying right now is way out of whack. Let one of us, let Mason or A-Rod or me or somebody talk about that.
It's hard because even for me, like if I make a video, like you were pointing out with that fuel filter, there was some stuff that could have been a little bit better with the draining of the fuel and stuff like that. I don't want to put out something that's really wrong and cause someone to damage their vehicle,
Right.
and that's easy to do. I know when I was researching for my fuel filter, I got the technical whatever book, but I looked online too, and there was a guy who did a 6.7 filter, and he did everything, but then he didn't prime the truck, and he sat there and cranked it and cranked it.
oh,
and
did I
cranked
forget to
it.
do that?
He didn't know. Well, he just didn't know.
Man.
He's like, here's how to do a fuel filter on a 6.7.
It was
He's like
A-Rod.
putting it. No, it wasn't. It was some guy. I don't remember who it was. It was just some guy who was just like, let me make a video on a fuel filter. But you got all if 1,000 people watch that and you're showing you just cranking on the engine and there's no fuel in that CP4, you didn't prime it, that kind of stuff.
There's a lot of like theories to how you should do it, like the way I would do it different, or the way you would do it different, or A-Rod would do it different. And I was showing, I was doing a set of the filters. So I get up underneath and I'm talking about like how you can look at the screen, you can actually look at it and be able to determine whether or not there's been some kind of contamination or debris floating around in the system, because on those big flat open pleats, you can actually get an indication and see kind of a little bit of what's going on. It's the initial sign of what could be an issue. And then I move up to the top and then, I change the filter up there. I'm cycling it, priming everything, and the vehicle fires right up. No hesitation, no nothing at all, because I gave it its time to prime and stuff. But some other guy popped up in the comment section, and he's another Ford tech, and he said, I don't do it that way. I will change the lower filter, I'll tighten it up, I'll go up in the vehicle, I'll prime the system, then I'll get out of the vehicle, I'll go back up to the filter in the engine, I'll pull that filter and put it in, and then I'll reprime the system. And I'm like, you know what, I get that, but I've never caused an issue doing it the way that I do it, and we all have our way to do it. It's just what is right and what is wrong.
I don't even get it. Why would you want to do it that way? That second way.
Less time to prime.
Oh,
It's less time. If you fill the bottom housing before the top housing still has fuel in it, then therefore it should take less time to prime. Sometimes those can be really, really difficult to prime, especially on the 16s. It seemed like the 17 ups are a lot better about it, but those 11 to 16s were tough sometimes to get the air out of them. God, man.
Oh, okay. So what's going on? Oh, go ahead.
I just want to say real quick before I forgot. So yesterday's video was the SMB charge air cooler pipe. Now I am an unbiased third party who looks for quality parts that I would want to put on my truck or your truck or this guy's truck, other than OE. All I've been doing is OE, 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 OE. I'm tired of OE. I don't want to do OE anymore. I want to look at some aftermarket avenues. I'm telling you, all 64 of you, you guys are all here for a reason. You guys should be coming by on Friday because there might be another one. So choose wisely and figure out if you want to do the fork in the road, you go left or you go right. And then keep your wallet book out because next week, you guys are probably going to fall off your seats. And then the week after that, you're probably going to fall off the other seat. So I just want to let you guys know. I'm excited for you guys to see what we have. So carry on.
So
Yeah,
I put out a video on the rattle because I know DS has got a EcoBoost, right?
Yeah, I got a power boost.
Oh, you got one of the new ones, so you're not going to have the issue. But
Hopefully.
I put out a video that went pretty nasty popular, but then I got a lot of hate for it, and then I deleted it and then re-uploaded it again, and then it went better to the second upload for some reason. I seem to hit a batch of haters really, really bad.
Yeah.
And what I did was I put out a video explaining to people, if you're getting this rattle on startup, it's not going to fix the issue. But if you're trying to, for peace of mind, stop hearing the rattle on startup and get some oil pressure or movement to maybe sling some residual oil in areas around that may be there already and pull some oil into the motor, you can flood mode the motor. Every single person that has come back to me on that video has said, in years, I've never heard the motor this quiet after flood moding it and then doing it the way that you said after I've let it sit for several days or an extended amount of time.
Okay.
This seems to work very, very, very well. And then even flood moding it when I get into my drive cycle or my drive to work or whatever it is, I don't seem to have so much of a issue with nice, calm driving. There's not so much.
Is this something normal if the vehicle's been sitting for a couple days?
Well, you have to you lose a lot of the oil that's in the upper part of that motor and stuff. A lot of people think that like an anti-drain back valve or something is going to stop all that from happening, and it's not. You still have clearances between journals and bearings and things like that where oil can start to seep back into the pan slowly. It's not going to always be held up in the
It
upper
falls down
portion
off of
motor.
the parts, off of the crankshaft, off of the
Right,
camshafts.
it's going to drain back eventually, and there's not a thing other than, I think, what is it, Dodge has in their Cummins engine, they don't have a check valve or bypass system or whatever in their filter because it's all built up into their pump. So whenever the vehicle's turned off, like the valve front seats, and it stops the oil from going back, I don't know, something like that. And
Rich, I just
what?
want to let you know a special someone has entered the chat.
Who's that?
SK himself.
No,
What up, dude?
is he here?
He here.
He here. All right.
Here he.
What's up, Mr. Kilmer?
Hey,
What?
email me. You want to get on and talk with us? We got one more slot right underneath Mason.
Yeah, jump on him real quick.
This is gonna
That's
go
funny.
south real quick.
I'm like looking at this. I'm like,
it's cool. It'd be cool. It won't go
this.
south.
I
Why would it
could-
go south? It's not gonna
Is
go
that
south.
really him?
It ain't gonna
Yeah.
go south.
No, it's not gonna go south. We're all professionals.
Yeah.
We are.
We're
anyway-
already off topic anyway. So
So I have this video that's going pretty nutty, right? And I'm everybody's benefiting from this, and I'm thinking to myself, why don't they build a provision into the programming to where you can do something like this? A lot of people have said, why doesn't an aftermarket company come out with an oil, like an auxiliary system, to where before you crank it up, you can prime the system ahead of time. You can do like something to where it's an accessory type system where it ties into the oil pan or whatever it is to pre-prime the system. So whenever you're starting it, you're not worrying about all this phase or rattle. This is one of the things that I would hope that they would do in the future, but we're literally doing these new 21B10, 21 21, what is it, N03 and N08 or something like that. There's two like following where even though we're putting new phasers and stuff in, we're updating everything like they say. 10,000 miles later, some of them are still coming back and they're rattling again. It's not necessarily fixing the problem 100%.
Those rattles can be a pain.
So let
pain
me
in
ask
the
you. Let me ask
booty.
you this: does it work for the older F-150s like the 5.4? Does that same system exist?
Yes.
That would be a big help for those engines because there's
Yeah.
a lot of those that have that slack in the chain adjuster. If I'm saying that right, what do you call that thing?
So
But-
it works like my 06 does it. The 02 does it. My buddy's 97 was a 97 F-150 flood mode, pedal to the floor, turn the key and cranks it a few times. Let's go. And no problem at all.
So while we're on that topic, what do you think? Because this got asked to me today. What do you think about when you change the oil? What do you think about filling the oil filter, pre-filling?
I think it's a good thing. If the motor's got some miles on it and stuff, a lot of guys won't do it because it's already got the wear. There's already lubrication that's been moving through that motor a lot. So it's already what they call permeated or penetrated, lubricated metal surfaces and stuff like that. So that split second that or the few seconds that you're starting it without oil there, is there some kind of like minor, almost non-measurable instance where there could be some wear? Absolutely. But they literally do demonstrations where they take diesel engines on stands and they run them with no oil or they'll run them with no coolant.
Yeah.
And sometimes these motors are running before they lock up and, catastrophic.
Well,
Yeah, that was called cash for clunkers.
the proper procedure for any oil change is to have some heat on the oil, some heat on the motor. So that oil is still going to be somewhat suspended on the crankshaft. So it's not going to all fall down unless it sits for a period of time anyway. So
that's part of the characteristic of the additive package that's built into the oil. It has to be able to do that type of stuff. And, when I got a lot of guys get bent out of shape, or you didn't pre-prime the filter before you did this and you did that or whatever. I try to do that all the time, but I don't do that all the time. If I get a vehicle in a used car or something like that, and they're pushing me to move.
yeah, it's a time saver just to not. Yeah.
I'm not going to say I go ahead and fill the filter every time. There's some times where I got a lot of crap going on and I'm like, you know what? This thing's got 122,000 miles on it. I don't even know why we're trying to sell this thing, but let's roll, baby. I got to get
But
in.
if your sole job is to change oil as a professional, you're just changing oil all day. That's a lot of time that you're saving at the end of the day. If you take all of the jobs you did and you didn't pre-prime any oil filters all day, because you don't have to. It's a lot of time saving. I've always done it, but
You got to think about all the vehicles that we have out now that have top-mounted filters or
I was
side-mounted.
about to say the same.
right.
thing.
You can't even fill them.
Yeah, the Ranger, the F-150s, even the 3.5 EcoBoost, it's almost impossible to fill that oil filter up.
Right,
Get it
you
on
can't
without
fill that.
just spilling it everywhere.
You don't. And I think a lot of people need to realize that because of the way oil is built, because of the way it's engineered, because of how it sticks to components and the additive protection packages that Valvoline and Pennzoil and everybody else actually talk about is you're never going to have a complete it's not going to really ever be any kind of measurable failure after an oil change because somebody didn't pre-prime your filter. And then most of the time, whenever people are putting oil in the filter anyway, they're dumping the oil right in the center of the filter anyhow, and it's not going through the actual filtering pleats. So
True.
what are you doing? Unless you're going to sit there for 20 minutes and do like, oh, there's a little pour, you just sit there for 20, 30 minutes filling the filter up. People ain't doing that. They're just dumping oil straight in the middle of the filter anyhow.
How many times immediately after an oil change on a 5.43 valve have you cranked it up and thought that you forgot to put oil in it, knowing that you just poured 7 quarts in it? Because I've done it multiple times. Like I really thought that something was about to let loose right there in the stall. Yeah, it just sounds like it's about to blow up for about 3 seconds, and then it clears up and it leaves, and I don't see it until the next oil change. It doesn't even seem to really cause any issues with it, and it doesn't seem to differ if you pre-fill the oil filter or not pre-fill the oil filter. It's just like a little bit of air is trapped in the system or something. But it happens, and I really see it more kind of with the rattle there right after the oil change on the higher mileage ones. When they got 250,000 miles, they seem to do it a lot worse. But is that something that y'all ran into changing those? Because I'm sure it's not me.
Yeah. I think one of the questions, in fact, he just asked here in the questions, one of the big ones is with these ones with no dipsticks for the trans, and people are getting up on mileage now that the 20s have been out. Well, even in F-150s. Well, even they have a little dipstick. But what is the procedure for the guy at home who wants to change his trans filter or drop his trans fluid? What is it?
Let me,
And-
can I answer that? Then Ford boss can correct me if I'm wrong.
Correcting.
Or either you or either, what's your name again?
Mason.
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 Even
I'll
Mason.
do-
is your-
do-
even
do my
Cody,
best.
anybody. So if you're gonna do a pan on a Ford vehicle, you're gonna if you're at home, so you don't have flushing equipment or anything, I would recommend taking the pan off, and you got to be careful because it's gonna be messy. So you got to understand how to work it loose slowly, and then let it tip out of one corner of it, and you got to work it out slow. Then that amount of whatever it might be like 4 or 5 quarts. Pull the filter off. I think with the Fords, the filter O-ring might stay with the filter. That's important. I think it's built into the filter, but you want to make sure that O-ring actually comes out. I've never actually done a Ford. I've done a lot of GMs. On the GMs, you had to actually take the O-ring out of the valve body, and then replace it. But on the Fords, I think it stays with the filter. Whatever comes
Well,
out.
O-ring.
Whatever comes out from that, that's going to be the fluid that you change. So you get the new filter, you put it up in there. The pan should hold the filter up. If there's no screws that hold the filter, I'm not sure if Ford uses screws to hold the filter. Some vehicles have screws on the filters, but the pan might just hold it up. And obviously a new gasket and stuff. If you're doing it at home and you haven't done it a whole lot, I recommend using a torque wrench. Technicians that do it all the time, they don't need a torque wrench. But if you're not doing it all the time, I recommend a torque wrench. And then top it off through the tube. You need a real small funnel. If it's got the new style dipstick that's underneath, you need one of those little flexible tubes that can get in there. And you should be able to figure out the information of how many quarts come out from that. But if you can't find that information.
If you're doing your services at home with that tube you're talking about, the 19 millimeter that's right there on the side of the trans on the newer transmissions where it's just got the little stubby and the dipstick inside it, what you need to invest in is Mighty Vac has a system where you know what I'm talking about, A-Rod, where it's got the cylinder with the hand pump on the top. And you could put your own fluid in and pull fluid out with that thing, and you can literally sit right next to your car. And all you need, what I've done in my buddy's house,
you could flush it over time. Like it would take a little longer, but you could.
And you don't have to do like the funnel thing and everything else. And the Mighty Vac system is actually pretty good. So you just have to make sure that if you're following protocol, you might see like on a new 2020 Explorer, you're changing the filter on it. First of all, you need to make sure you have the right equipment because in the newer vehicles, they don't have regular nuts and stuff. And Mason might be able, because I see he's actually pulled apart quite a few transmissions as well, where that new bolt that sits inside the 2020 Ford Explorer, like it's not a Torx Plus, or I don't know what it is. It's weird. I don't have anything that will fit on that.
Where is that bolt? Is it on the pan or is it on the filter?
It actually holds the filter on the hybrid units into the auxiliary body. And like the filter goes up on an angle. It's got an O-ring on the front of it, and then it comes underneath the back of the valve body, and then it bolts right through the auxiliary transmission fluid pump for the hybrid units. And I'm trying to find a socket to fit this, and I don't have a Q plus or a Torx Plus. I don't have a regular Torx. There's nothing in it on like an inverted socket.
So how'd you get it out?
I took an 8 millimeter and I put it up there, and I just tapper, and I spun it right out. And then I made sure that those sides were nice and flat, so the next technician that went in there could just put his 8 millimeter on there too, and it wasn't all destroyed.
I like how you got real close to the
I know,
camera.
right? Like it's
Thought that
like
was
you're telling us a secret.
I don't know what. And I was talking to one of the other technicians, and he said that's that new style of bolt that Ford's using in the 2020 line, to where you have to get the new set of sockets for it because you won't have one in your toolbox that fits it. It's completely different.
Wow. But how close am I on that trans service? Pretty
Perfect.
close. I've never
Perfect.
done the newer ones like you're saying. I've done the older ones in the past, like 4L60s, those
Yeah.
old GM trans. But
Well,
I was
just get
never,
apart.
real huge into flushing just because the time that it would take me to do it. I would just
Yeah.
take whatever came out of the pan and then I would just top it off. And I, just it would have took me a long time to flush because there's a lot of quarts in there versus what comes out of the pan. There's probably
Yeah.
like what 13, 14 quarts in the trans. I don't know.
I mean, you can get more than what typically comes out of a pan is somewhere between like 4.5 to 7.5.
4.5 quarts.
Somewhere in there. But like recently, I had that 2020 Explorer transmission pan down, and it was throwing an auxiliary code because it didn't like the pressure it was seeing. So I replaced the sensor. That's the pinpoint test. Replace the sensor. I replaced it again.
This the one you were telling me about that you were going back and forth on?
Code came back a second time, and then Ford says, you know what, put an auxiliary pump in it or get a transmission, whatever one's faster. And then all of a sudden auxiliary pumps came. That's what they said. They didn't have a fix for it.
Right.
So the engineer said, put a pump in it. I put a pump in it, and here's, you know what, while we're on it, let's just do it. This is how screwed up this transmission hybrid auxiliary system is.
Are you talking about like what's in the Power Boost or?
No, it's
Explorer.
the 2020 Explorer,
That power platform.
the hybrid 3 motor.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
in the
not going to be
pan,
similar to the Power Boost at all, or?
I don't know. I haven't had one apart yet, so I can't really speak on that.
The 10R60 MHT in that Explorer, right?
Yeah,
10
the
or
Ford's got a 10 speed.
think-
The F-150's got a
The
10 speed. I don't
F-150
know.
is I know it's the 10R80 with the MHT, but I'm not sure if the Explorer is the 10R. It is still the
I'm looking at
10R60 with the MHT or not.
Oh, okay.
On
I
the
think it is.
hybrid,
I
because
think-
I haven't seen one of those either.
Okay.
So the 10R60 MHT, I'm pretty sure is what it is because I
Mhm.
remember going to the I had to actually.
It's a
take that-
10R80. It's a 10R80
10R80
MHT.
Okay, so that's the same trans that's in the F-150 than in the Power Boost. Then
So
It's probably a similar system.
here's where the story's going.
I don't know.
All right, this is where it kind of gets. Maybe I'll get my hand slapped for this. I don't know, but why would you take a hybrid unit, run the auxiliary lines through the plastic pan, back up the back of the unit into the auxiliary pump? You got these little tiny rubber grommets that sit in the auxiliary pump, and they fall out and fall out and fall out and fall out. And you're like, you expect me to take this pan and mount it up there in a timely fashion? So I'm going to have to use a little grease or something to hold those little rubber grommets in that auxiliary pump. Put the pan
So
up
when
there.
when you're saying auxiliary pump, are you talking about like an electric pump that pumps trans fluid?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's you have the valve body here, and the auxiliary pump sits along the back of it.
So
And then
because the
the-
engine's turning off, it needs that pump.
that's,
Right.
and
And
that's
then-
something that we've been doing for a while, even with the auto start stop stuff. I mean, we've
Okay.
been doing that since what, like 2015, I think the auto start stop stuff came.
Yeah. Okay. Because as soon as the engine turns off, if you didn't
Right.
have that pump, you lose your gear because you
Right.
wouldn't have anything to hold your
The
multiple
fluid
disc clutch.
coupling- It's the fluid coupling from what the engineer explained it to. He tried to explain it in more layman terms for me to understand when we were all talking about everything. And he said, that's your pump that creates the pressure that makes that torque converter lock up in hybrid mode.
Yeah.
And that's what, or that it's what helps the vehicle move. The auxiliary pump has to.
Yeah. Because typically that's your trans fluid pressure comes from your engine running. If your engine wants to turn off, you lose all trans function and hydraulic function. So you need that pump.
So the way it sits is the valve body's here, the auxiliary pump sits right behind it, and then your filter kind of goes up into the valve body. It has an O-ring, and it comes out along it, and then it
Got a
bolts
picture of
through.
that.
It bolts through the auxiliary pump, and then the auxiliary pump has a few of its own bolts, and it's a terrible design. You're taking these little grommets that are like I don't know, a half-inch long, maybe 3/4 inch long.
Yeah.
And you're trying to line them up with these steel lines that go, or these metal lines that go through the pan, and they need the auxiliary pressure lines, they sit inside the pan. So whenever you take the pan down and you look in the bottom of it, there's two metal lines that are in there that transfer the fluid from that pump through the pan and up into, okay, so here we are.
So can the fluid leak from those grommets?
Oh
Yeah.
my God, it looks 100% like it can. It looks terrible. Like, how are you supposed to make sure that you get this centered exactly where it's supposed to be every single time? Hopefully you don't have to go in there that much, but it's a disaster. I'm looking at this
See,
and I'm like,
right here.
Well, what do you think though? You think it could have been done better?
oh my God, yes. They could have
Like
taken those lines.
not through the pan, maybe up higher somewhere where it wouldn't be.
They
If it's
could have
going through
put,
it sounds like it's going through the bottom of the pan
right,
or the side of the pan to the
right.
bottom.
Yeah, it's the
So
bottom
maybe
of the pan.
maybe
Maybe it
somewhere
should be
higher.
part of the actual line
That's-
or the,
yes.
the fixed part, just like the trans filter on
They need to have a bolt and a bracket
there.
to where when you put it up there, right there, there's those two that sit inside the pan. And then they come up the front
Wow.
where the number 2 is. And you have to make sure these little itty bitty tiny holes are right on the money, because if you're just a
Okay.
little bit off, you can block that hole partially. There's all kinds of things that you can do. It's just-
Use a
Oh.
10 EP
I've
12
got
plus. What the
those.
heck is that?
I like how there's
I've
an
got
eyeball
those.
just like
It's the new ones that are on. There's a lot of those on the 20 up Explorers.
10
That's-
EP torques.
EP
Never
is-
heard of it.
EP
So-
is what
so
they're
are you-
using on bed bolts too.
so are you saying as you set this up, that little O-ring can just fall off and you wouldn't be able to see it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you'd be done until you go
Yeah.
to engage your first stuff, or not first stuff, but you go to engage gear or whatever, and
And it
your
won't have
mush
any
mush ain't
line.
got no go-go.
Yeah.
So when the pump came, there was one little small rubber insert that was there, but the other 2 rubber inserts were not even there. And I'm looking it up. I'm like, well, am I supposed to replace these or not? Because when the pump came, I was talking to the engineer and he said, everything should come with the pump that you need. So I'm following exactly what the guy is saying and looking at the workshop manual here at the same time. And I'm like, yeah, so the pump showed up and there was 1 grommet in there, not all 3 little grommets that were supposed to be in there, or 1 was there and 2 weren't, or there's three for some odd reason. And then there's the 2 little lines that have the little tiny holes that transfer through, come up to the front, and then it's got 2 little small holes that have to match up with the front of the transmission mating surface where the pan goes up. And I'm like,
Every time a filter service, if a filter's ever dropped,
do you know how stupid this is? And I'm thinking to myself, somebody should be sent back to the beginning, go back to square one, do not pass go, start all the way over back at school again, and then come back in 20 years and tell us how stupid you think you are. I mean, unreal.
Rich, I got your socket. 10 EP torques.
Yeah, but it has to be the other way though. It has to be the female version.
Yeah, the EP Torx Plus is the they look like an inverted Torx, but they have more than the
Yeah, I got those too.
stars. Yeah, they're like
Dang, I ain't got none of them.
Wow.
I'm
I
ordering.
had to
them
buy
right now.
these when I was at Roush because we were working on them before they even came out. You should have seen us trying to get them on Snap-on and Matco. No one had them. Snap-on had to overnight them to Roush.
wow.
I'm ordering them right now.
I just ordered
They're a pretty penny, that's for sure.
I ain't getting
a
what you got. I'm getting the cheap ones.
VI, I think I got the external one or the internal ones I have from VIM.
Mason. Do you have the Flex Probe kit, the Rotunda Flex Probe kit? No.
I do not. No, I've came this close to buying it like 10 times, but what I do have, I have a Matco back probe pin kit, like super microscopic, tiny.
They're good.
And I have several different sizes. They honestly work just as good as
Do they?
the Ford
Yeah.
Pro kit, in my opinion. That's the only reason I haven't bought them, just because I already have them.
Now, Scotty Kilmer just has a comment here, and he says he only buys tools from Harbor Freight.
That's not
No.
Scotty Kilmer.
That's not Scotty Kilmer.
That ain't Scotty Kilmer. That's an imposter.
That's an
Yeah.
imposter. But the part of Harbor Freight, I went there to look at their icon stuff, and just to check it out. I wanted to check it out, and I don't know. I was kind of impressed at it. I didn't get to use it, but I saw a couple of the ratchets that they had out. Um, and I wanted to talk about it, bring light to the Icon brand. I was thinking about buying a ratchet, and I asked if I could film something, and they said absolutely not. So I was kind of bummed out. I wanted to show you
Hey, Rod.
guys. Yes, sir.
28.99, Lyle, EP, whatever.
Oh, I like Lyle. Lyle's
Okay.
got some good stuff.
I
Yeah.
have the VIMs. It comes with the magnetic rail, so I bought it. I have all the VIM rails too, the magnetic rails. So
You talk about the icon stuff there, Rod. I've actually I don't have any that I use at the dealer, but I actually have gotten real big into aviation the past few years. And we were working at the hangar, doing a lot of work on these old like 50s and 60s model planes. We were just using like just raggedy tools like Craftsman stuff. So we went to Harbor Freight and we just bought about $1,000 worth of tools in there just to have and keep at the hangar. And I've been very, very impressed with the quality of their stuff. Their wrenches, they fit.
What about their
really
impact
well.
sockets?
I've been really, really impressed with them
Yeah?
as well.
Wow.
We bought a lot of the chrome sockets. I feel like they fit honestly just as good as some of the higher brand Snap-on Matco stuff that I have. I mean, I haven't found any kind of fit issues with them. I really like the brand. It kind of sucks, you buying it from Harbor Freight. I don't know if they'll ever really have a good name being they sell at Harbor Freight, but I've been really overall impressed with the quality of their stuff.
I've
So-
been using the Icon stuff since they came out, basically, and I haven't had a problem with them.
The Icon stuff is good. It's good.
I will literally grab my Icon quarter-inch drive flex head before my Snap-on one.
Yep.
I mean, I've replaced literally all my gear wrench with the Icon
So,
stuff, and
I went to
I-
Harbor Freight here outside of Chicago, and the manager that was there, I was like, why does this Icon look just like my Snap-on? And she
because
was
it
like,
is.
she was like, because it is. And I was like, well, wait a second. There's like other tools here that look just like my Snap-on. And she was like, the engineer that used to work for them now is a designer for Icon. And there's like some legal stuff going on behind closed doors because now Snap-on doesn't like the fact that these tools are getting designed so close to theirs and they're providing awesome use to people at a fraction of the cost. They're ratcheting
yeah.
wrenches,
Oh
they're
yeah.
front drive wrenches, they're long ratchets and stuff with the flex head. It's a big issue right now because a lot of guys are going out and buying these Icons and they're just as reliable, if not more reliable, because of the efficiency, the money, the savings on my pocket.
Right.
And you buy a whole master set of Icon ratcheting wrenches that are super high quality that have this extended, like, I don't know if it's a lifetime warranty or whatever, but the warranty is unbelievable. And you're paying a fraction of the cost. Why? I can go out and get this for $150 on sale or $200 on sale, or I can go buy the Snap-on ones that are $800 on, or whatever it is. It's the Icon stuff. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's absolutely phenomenal stuff.
I haven't got to use it. I am in the market for. I only have a 3/8 ratchet, hand ratchet. That's like this, but it's got the bent handle at the end. I really would like, what was that? How long was that, Cody? 18 inches?
It was 14 or 18.
This long, just a straight handle 3/8 hand ratchet. And I want to go on the trucks. I do. I frequent the Cornwall truck mostly. But I wanted to go to Harbor Freight. I heard somebody in the comment section talking about Icon. The first one I picked up, I looked at the box. I thought it looked nice, the packaging, and then there were some other loose tools sitting over here. We had saw some stubby wrenches. I don't have stubby wrenches, and I was thinking about stubby wrenches. But even Cody had brought out a point. Oh, look, it's Mr. Matt. Question for you, Cody. The packaging, even the font of the letters for the numbers 13 millimeter, 14 millimeter, was very, very, very similar to Snap-on. And just like Ford Boss Me was saying, these tools are being designed and being put out to Harbor Freight, where when I think Harbor Freight, I think, maybe one-time use stuff. I wouldn't go to
Yeah.
Harbor Freight to, I'm going to be starting my career. I'm getting all my stuff at Harbor Freight.
I had a bunch of one-time use stuff from Harbor Freight,
You know what I'm talking about?
but I never, not the hand tools, but like the big stuff. Like I bought a big old hydraulic puller once. Didn't work out
Yeah.
good.
You know, there's nothing wrong with the Harbor Freight stuff. I tell a lot of the young guys, if you're gonna get like, if you're trying to move into like side work and stuff like that as you're coming up and you're trying to work into that semi skill, eventually getting to a master tech level, senior master level, then there's nothing wrong with going like they're getting their axle nut sockets and stuff like that. You can literally beat the hell out of them if they break or whatever, take it back, get a new one or something like that. There's nothing wrong with those tools, the impact rated tools and stuff. But when it comes to sensitive items, like you said, yes, the hydraulic pullers, the sensitive items where pulley pullers and stuff like that, I've had some good luck and I've had bad luck. So I still I tend to stay more on the name brand side because of safety reasons.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I wouldn't buy their battery operated stuff.
I did. I bought a recently. People were shocked. Some guy laughed at me today and was like, "You know what? I just did the same thing, and I'm a senior master tech."
Which one did you get?
I got that heavy duty Bauer drill.
Yeah.
The more expensive one, and I've been beating the living hell out of that thing every single day, and it charges phenomenal. It takes it. It works just like the Milwaukee does. It's got the
Wow.
same. It's got the same Milwaukee drive chuck on the end of it. I was looking at the Milwaukee and I was looking at the Bauer and I was like, wait a second. It's got that
Really?
same heavy duty end. All the markings are almost the same. This
What
is
kind
kinda
of
what
price
it is.
difference? Kind of price difference you getting out of it?
$69.99 versus, whatever their top drill is
Yeah.
for Milwaukee, 150 or whatever, $170 or whatever.
Oh, your boy DeVito's here. Tell him his truck fell off the hoist, so he
No,
freaks
no,
out.
no.
Oh,
No.
you did I think you had a video come out about that 350.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, that's the one. He's the owner of that truck that's in the comment section right now, Anthony.
I liked that, how you had the drive shaft spinning and you were looking at it, listening to it.
A lot of people don't know, like, a lot of people were scared at first when they were watching that video and they're like, oh my God, how do you technicians trust that big giant truck being on the rack and somebody driving it? It's what we do, man. I mean,
I know, there's nothing wrong with it.
you have to be confident in what you do and you have to put somebody in the vehicle that you trust. And if
Yep.
you look in that video, my cue to the guy that was in that truck, hey, Rod laughed at
No,
me.
look at my face.
I want you looking at my face when I'm talking to you. Get it up to
Yeah.
speed, shift it into neutral, hit the brakes. I'm listening for a sound. Look at me when I'm talking to you because this is a very expensive truck. And when you get that connection with somebody and you're giving clear, concise instructions and they have the ability to listen.
Well, yeah. Because here's the thing. On that, if you get somebody that doesn't listen and they want to rev up the engine or something like that, that could be real dangerous. The speed rating on those tires, the fact that it's got an open differential, you could easily exceed the speed rating on the tire if one of those wheels get to spinning faster than, I mean, if it's an open differential, it's not a limited slip.
Think of it this way. What if somebody's in that truck and they're increasing speed real quick and they don't listen to that shift into neutral, and they're still in gear, and then all of a sudden they apply the brake and the transmission's downshifting and bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, you're shaking on that hoist.
Yeah, it's even if I am in gear and I'm the one driving, I still will never, ever, ever, ever try to do any kind of aggressive braking on the lift. I'm still like always real nice and easy. Let it downshift. That's why I was looking for that cue up there. And A-Rod pointed that out. I want you looking at my face when I'm giving you directions because I want you to know it's very important. It's a very expensive vehicle. Even if it's not my vehicle. I want you looking at me. And I got the confidence. He understood what I was saying and he was very, very careful with it. And I was like, okay, so we're connected now. Now you know what I want. And we can do this in a safe manner as long as we're in tune with each other. And it's what we have to do sometimes. Sometimes you have to be right there next to that object or whatever, looking at it, trying to see what's going on, listening for something. Can it be dangerous? Absolutely. But that's why you don't do it if you don't feel confident in doing it.
Yeah. I remember I did that in school once in driveline class. We had to put a vehicle up It's like a big truck too, and we propped it all up and spun the wheels and listened to it. But I'll never forget how they explained it. That rear end, if you try to rev it up too fast, you could actually multiply the speed because it's not necessarily the power is going to follow the least resistance. Not both wheels necessarily are guaranteed to be spinning because of that rear end's not locked. The rear end's open. So you could go, if you go 60, you could take that one of those wheels and be spinning it even faster than 60. So you got to, watch out for stuff like that.
It's a very tricky situation, and that's why I had somebody message in the comment section of that video saying, this is why we take our vehicles to people like us that know what's going on, because if one of us was to try to do something like that and didn't know, we could really damage this thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And with it being new in a 2022 and A-Rod recommending that he come see me, I definitely wanted to take extra care of him to try to, I didn't want to give up on the situation. Anthony can tell you on the first day, me and him looked into the truck for almost an hour. And at first I thought I could write up an RO. I could claim no problem found because I didn't find a problem right away. Even though I know it's there, I didn't find it. And I could try to get paid something on it. But that's not what this is about. Now this has become a challenge to me. Now I'm trying to find this, and I want to be educated on this. And it's not about getting paid anymore. It's about, for one, making Anthony happy because it's his 2022. And number two, trying to change that stigma because Anthony already feels that. I've already been to a couple other dealers and they kind of not necessarily let me down, but I don't know that he actually felt like they were listening to him. Like there is a problem here. And when you go to a dealer and there's an issue there and somebody's telling you, I don't hear it, I can't confirm it, that's kind of a letdown to the customer. They know something's wrong, especially Anthony's been around these trucks. Other people have been around these trucks. They know what to expect.
You need to have that sense of urgency.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like there's a pressure though. Maybe, obviously you guys are willing to do these extra things to figure out the problems, but I feel like for a lot of technicians, I think for a lot of the consumers who go into the dealership, there's a pressure to make a certain quota. Maybe you want to make a certain amount per week. You got bills, you've got stuff you want to pay, and then something comes into the shop and it's going to be complicated. That's going to cut into it's going to cut into, and it's kind of like, oh, I don't hear nothing. If it's not something they can figure out real quick and keep moving. Sometimes I know I went through it that's how I met A-Rod. I had a problem with my truck. It's drinking all this oil, and you bring it in and they're just like, it's not doing anything right now. I'm like, listen, it's burning oil. It's got 5,000 miles on it. It's just burning oil. Listen, man, you're going to have to leave it here for 2 months. And I was like, A-Rod fixed it in no time. And, it was a TSB. He looked up a TSB and it needed a valve cover because of a baffle. And it's like, how many dealers wouldn't even take the time of day because it wasn't simple enough? It's very.
It comes to the fact of what this live stream was going to be about, was here are those scenarios. There is never a repair. I should say never. There sometimes is, but usually the repairs are never just cut and dry. Fix, repair, do it's this diagnosis stuff that Rich is just talking about that we don't get compensated for.
Right.
That you technicians just make all this money. Actually, we have to work for our money. And the fact that we don't take time to sit with this customer who just drove over an hour for me to fix his truck, for me to convey to him that I'm going to fix his problem, your truck's in good hands, I appreciate you driving here. For the technician to be in that mindset, you have to know that the dealer is going to take care of you, whether it's a guarantee or they're going to take care of you, some other way. Like if the dealer isn't going to take care of their techs in backing them, hey, we don't want you to worry about nothing. Just fix this truck, fix these trucks, just fix the vehicles that are coming in. you know, I think technicians may have a different viewpoint when getting a problem child in or a type of vehicle like Anthony's, where, you know, it's not just going to be, you know, hooking the computer up to it, finding the code, going through the pinpoint test, and boom, you found your problem. You may have to be comparing this to another vehicle, get another like unit, lifting that up off the hoist, dropping that one, putting this truck in, and doing all this stuff, taking the drive shaft out, taking this drive shaft out, switching. That's a lot of extra time that, you know, we try to get compensated for all the time. But like I'm saying, or trying to make the point, if the dealer is going to work with the technician, whether it's a guarantee or compensating them somehow, I think technicians would be more susceptible, not susceptible, more.
Well, some of it's, are you saying some of it is the dealers? Like some dealers are going to
Well-
figure out a way to compensate?
Now M time is so much easier to use. So I mean,
Yeah.
why aren't you using M time? I
That's
mean,
what I
come
was
on,
gonna-
start
what I
clocking that M time. Ford's giving you M time, clock it.
And that's
My
the-
other, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that. I mean, I feel like that's the problem with a lot of techs. They don't know how to correctly use straight time or M time. They don't know how to claim the time. The time's there. Ford will pay you for your time. I mean, they don't expect you to work for free. I feel like, you know, the M time is there, but I feel like most guys and a lot of people just don't understand that. They don't understand how to write and purposefully use that M time. You know, where it's actually supposed to be used, which is when you
Correct.
have those situations like when you just said, you know, you had to swap this drive shaft, pull this.
It's there
out
for a
of it.
reason.
It's exactly, you know, and if you use it, I feel like you don't even really need the dealer telling you, you know, hey, we got you. You know, I mean, that's Ford Motor Company saying that, you know, here's the time, use it. Now don't get carried away, but you know, use it accordingly.
Correct. I think, yeah, I think what you said is correct. And probably dudes are scared to use it, whether it's, you know, they're going to get charged back, or, you know,
They're
their
scared of
warranty
audits.
administrator. I'm going to
That's
get
what they're scared of. And the audits just is a lottery. It's not if you're gonna get audited, it is when
That's
you're
what
gonna get
Cody said.
audited.
Yeah.
It's
and- but
exactly what Cody said. That's what it is, because when you go to a dealership, I've been to a couple different dealerships, and you'll have some service managers. They know how to claim the time. They know how to write it up. They have the right warranty person in place that knows how to make sure you're taken care of. There's some dealerships that are set up with literally somebody that sits in that office and does nothing but go over warranty stuff. And that's their main purpose, is to make sure all the warranty stuff and the technicians are taken care of. There's a lot of dealerships that don't have that extra money to give to an extra person to sit in the office and cover all that stuff. So they may have one main warranty girl that deals with multiple stores instead of just for Ford. She's also doing Chrysler, and she's also doing
Yeah.
Honda, and she's doing multiple stores. But if you learn that M time stuff and you have a competent person, service manager, lead service writer that can deal with some of the warranty stuff, and a warranty girl that knows what to go, all that stuff can get submitted appropriately. But here's where I'm going to throw a wrench into the whole thing. Now let's step away from M time for a second. A lot of the stuff that we go through, that I see from other dealerships that come to me, and I don't mean to put dealerships on blast here. There's a lot of improperly trained technicians in the aspect of new technology that's coming out. TSBs are not TSBs, CSMs, or CSPs and stuff that come out. They don't even read the message board. They don't read the new data and stuff that has come out. Like, I'm always talking to A-Rod, hey, did you see this? Or he's asking me, did you see this? Did you see this? Did you? And we're talking back and forth to try to keep each other informed, because there may be a day where you might see something that popped up that's new data that came out about a specific vehicle, but I was so busy that day, I didn't get a chance to go and actually read. So now when I come in the morning and I clock in, I go right to Ford PTS website, I pull that up, and I'm reading. And I'm reading, and I'm reading. And it may take me 15 or 20 minutes to get through new TSBs from the last day or two that came out. And sure enough, something came in the shop yesterday. It was a Fleet Escape, a 2020 to 2021 model that I read last week about the rivets breaking away from the door from that striker, or not striker assembly, but that door check. And there's rivets inside the door. And on the fleet vehicles where they're getting in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out all the time, the rivets break away from the door assembly. And literally the striker is like, or that door check is starting to bind up inside the door. You can't roll the window down all the way. When you go to close the door, it's trying to jam back in the door. The whole door has to be replaced. And Ford actually put out a service message about it saying, hey, look, we're starting to see this from the fleet companies. This is something that's going on because they're using these vehicles in and out of them all the time. If guys would just start learning to use those message boards, get on there every single day and take a few moments to look through that stuff. I saved him from even having to go look for it because he pulled it in and he's like, hey, Rich, look at this. This is weird, man. This is a brand new vehicle and it's already, the check system's already busted away from the door assembly. And I have to figure out what to do now because Ford's going to give me all kinds of grief about this to get this covered. No, dude, did you not see last week? There was a service message put out that's saying that they do recognize that. And this is how you fix it. Take a second to go look at those message boards because a lot of times the information's already there. It's already been covered.
You know what I think too is something that's important is those broadcast messages. Dude, every day. Every day.
Every day. I look at them.
Every day. There's something different.
I mean,
Well, I
there was
guess-
an M-Time broadcast not too long ago. Like, hey guys, use M-Time. We're showing you how to claim it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, get it right.
You know, the main goal, you know, with this live stream and, you know, meeting up with Mason, getting him on here, Ford Boss Me, Cody, the guys in the comment, the dudes who are working on this, we are working on these vehicles for a living. We are trying to be the next generation of better technicians. And I am currently seeing in my career, when I look back, the old timers are starting to go away. We're starting to be in the position that I saw them 20 years ago. So this new era of technicians, I think we're going to have to, not I think, I know we're going to have a different attitude. Like it's not, we can't have that old man mentality. And you guys know what I'm talking about. The old dudes in the shop that are just grumpy dudes who, you're not going to tell me nothing, you know, whatever. That isn't what is going to push these Ford repairs into the future. There's headsets coming out that are going to help us diagnose these vehicles, fix it right the first time. There's going to
All
be
I have
new.
to say is use those headsets, please, guys.
There's going to be a video on that, and you guys are going to like it. It's not that it's Big Brother looking at. That's not what it's about. It's about we have another person, another set of eyes, literally looking at this job that you're contacting them to begin
Anyways.
with because you can't figure it out. Nobody in your shop foreman, and nobody has figured out what's wrong with this car, this vehicle. You've contacted Ford Motor Company. They sent you these glasses. You're going to put these glasses on and you're going to figure out how to fix that vehicle. This is new technology. This is new roads. These are things we're going to have to adapt to whether we like it or not. And it best be in our favor for Boss Me, Mason, us, to soak up all of this info and knowledge that is going to be coming out very rapidly with all this new electrification stuff coming out. And we're literally going to be on the forefront, comparing us to the aftermarkets and our ability, you know, do you stay at the dealer? Do these things come into aftermarkets? Am I going to need to know this knowledge? And is your dealer backing you? Are they taking care of you? Are you going to have a right attitude? Are you going to look at this job, not just a job because you're here to make money, which you are. You have to keep that in the back of your head. But this particular problem, Rich said it well. DeVito's truck, I have to look at this as a challenge. It's just not going to be another job. I have to look at this as a challenge. And when it's a challenge, you challenge yourself, you're going to be in a different mental state. You're going to be looking at it maybe on a different rung of the ladder, and you're going to be more tuned in, going to be more focused, and you're going to be a better technician. You guys know what I'm talking about. Mason, when we do our repairs, when we're storing our stuff out, looking at our operation, Rich, when we have to turn all of our parts back in, there's so many things that we have to do and have technician responsibilities that sometimes we forget about the task at hand, and it's fixing the truck or fixing the vehicle. And when Ford implements all this new stuff, it can be a little bit to grasp. I mean, this information, it's like, hold on, wait, what? And then you have to think like, how did this engineer write this? Well, what's the computer doing? Because you don't. eh, it's a lot to grasp sometimes, but it's why we're here. It's
We need to
why
get the younger generation involved in it too.
pass that trade on. Pass
Without
that
Well,
them,
it's
trade on.
interesting.
we're
It's
screwed.
how do you get like the technical ability of a guy like Ford Boss Me, where it's like detective work. It's so, it's just so,
Gotta have someone who wants to do it. That's the thing, is the drive.
yeah.
You know what set it off for me is somebody put a bad taste in my mouth at one time. It was an old guy in the shop, and I said I'd never be like that guy. I will never be like that guy because he's been doing this for 40 years. He's so old and disgruntled. He doesn't want to help anybody. And a customer came in and wanted a remote start. It's a pretty easy system for him. He's done in 45 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes. The car's programmed, gets paid an hour to do it because he's so good at it. He's become more efficient than most guys at it. And I went up to him and I said, hey, look, they left this ticket on my box. I understand you're covered up and you can't get to this right now. I want to take care of this customer and make sure they're happy. Could you give me a little bit of a rundown or show me where you got this information? Because I'd like to learn how to do these remote starts for the customer's cars. And he said, why would I show you how to take money out of my pocket?
Wow.
Well, if I use
Wow.
that mentality about everything, then I would never help a technician get anywhere. I can't help these new young guys that are wanting to step up and wanting to learn more stuff and make this information and this productivity available to them as well, to give them to teach them how to fish. And if you teach them how to do it, they could eat for a lifetime. But if you're always holding all that to yourself all the time, how are you supposed to build a younger generation that's wanting to come up and wanting to be in your shoes and wanting to be like you or better than you because you want them to be better than you? If you have that mentality, how can you ever help anybody to get there? You can't do it. You have to be willing to share, learn, and grow together and just become better technicians. That's what all this is about.
My
Becoming better
mentor,
technicians.
my mentor taught me. I saw what he instilled, the foundation, and I have had the experience to pass on the trait that was passed on to me to somebody else, and now he is passing that on to somebody else, and it's the chain of what we do. I mean, we all get helpers, and we started at the bottom. Yeah, that's where everybody starts. And now,
My mentor taught me everything. I mean, he showed me all the tricks on 6064s. I'm like, holy nice, this is
Mhm.
nice. He
mhm,
didn't want to. He was an old grumpy guy, but when they put me with him, he changed. Like, he actually physically taught me how to do diesel work. I'm like, because he was just the old grumpy guy across the wall when I first started, and he turned out to be the coolest dude ever.
that's good stuff. That's good
A
stuff.
a lot of this responsibility actually lays on the dealers too. Like I know so many dealers right now that have good diagnostic guys, advanced level, good transmission guys, advanced level and stuff like that. And you know these guys are getting close to retirement. You know these guys are getting close to being out of the field. And a lot of them are already, like you
Mhm.
said, funneling out of the field.
Yep.
Why are you not taking one of your master techs that need to learn from him? Why are you not taking one of your semi-skilled that have been a semi-skilled for so many years that's willing to start moving up into that more responsibility, that higher skill set level and stuff, and not sticking him with the trans guy or the advanced diag guy, and set yourself up for better success? There's a reason why a lot of these dealerships are not doing that. And I think a lot of them right now, it's because of money, productivity and stuff. vehicles in and out of the dealership is a lot less. And they're thinking that by taking somebody from one position to plug over with the transmission guy so he can learn how to rebuild a 6F35, a 10R80, 4R70W or something like that, you're losing money by not having him on something, but yet your thinking is wrong because you're actually gaining tenfold, because once he learns that system and he can actually be more efficient in helping out in other areas, that guy's going to turn around and make you more money in the long run. And you're going to have somebody set up in that position. So when that guy retires, your dealership is set up for success. A lot of dealerships are not doing that.
And I mean, it was like a month after I started doing it with that guy, and we were turning 100, 150 hours a week because he had me doing work and him doing work at the same time.
That's freaking awesome.
We were turning some serious hours.
Well, what's the turn to that, Cody? What's the turn to that, though? So now you both are efficient. You both are learning together and working good together. Now you're making the customer more happy, and you're getting stuff in.
Exactly.
Stuff out. That's why you get better customer service reviews. You build that, what I always talk about on my channel, and everybody's heard me say from day one, that customer loyalty base. It always comes back to that feel good, warm and fuzzy sensation. Like, this is where I go. This is where I feel comfortable. This is where I'm taken care of. And every single dealership out there, if they had that mentality, they would be so much further ahead if that's what they would focus on. The numbers will be there. The profit will be there. But if you don't start focusing more on the loyalty base, taking care of your customer, setting yourself up for better success, and not having this downtime so long, it's going to be the same old dog and pony show. It's never going to change.
I want to go where I'm getting a deal, whether it's going to be with customer service, whether it's going to be monetary value, or like Rich said, I know where I'm going because I'm getting that fuzzy feeling. I know that I'm going to be taken care of. I know that my expectations are going to be met. I'm not going to get this riffraff that I don't want. That's why I'm coming here.
I'll never forget being in the dealer and getting the feeling that they don't want to deal with warranty work because they rather deal with customers paying out of pocket. Like I got from what they were saying, the stuff they were actually saying, they didn't want nothing to do with warranty work. They were pushing that stuff aside. And they were way more interested in customers paying out of pocket. And I was like, guys, I bought 3 trucks from you. They did not want to hear that. The service department and the sales department, 2 totally separate entities.
2 different businesses.
Yep.
We don't say it that way, but that's really how it is.
The sad, well, money's money to me. If I can make money, regardless if it's a warranty, if it's a customer service campaign or something like that, I don't care. I'm going to make money, but I'm just going to be straight with you. If it comes down to whether or not it's all data time for a customer repair, and I know that I'm getting taken care of because I'm properly getting compensated versus 0.3, 0.4 for yes, I want the customer pay stuff because the customer is actually taking care of me. Now, I will agree, and it's sad to be that way, but there's reasons for that. Now, I hope what ends up following suit is other states do the same thing that the state of Illinois is doing.
Yes, sir.
Where January 1st, the manufacturer in this state, it's already passed, it's already went through the legal system and everything else. The manufacturers will have to pay the same time that the customer will have to pay in this state from now on. Now, here's how they flip that. Everything becomes a CSP, a TSB, an SSM, and it's completely different than your standard labor. So that's how they can circumvent that and say, well, you're still getting 0.3, you're still getting 0.4. Everything becomes a TSB at this point.
Yeah, but what are those labor times based off of? I mean, what is, I mean, if you're saying that the warranty,
A person
has
with
to
a
pay
4-year degree
customer
sitting
pay,
behind a computer.
like, and I don't agree with that at all. I feel like, the people that should be saying what the time, how much time it takes to do it is the person actually doing the repair. It don't make sense that somebody else should tell me you can do this in 4 hours. Like, I feel like the whole kind of system doesn't make sense in that fact. We deal with it because it's been in place so long. It's what we're used to. And we learned how to make money and be efficient with it. But I think the whole system is wrong in the fact that, you know, you base how long someone takes to do something. Every person is going to be different. You know, I'm going to be different from you. You're going to be different from me on different things. Everybody's just different, you know.
Ford, Big
They
Brother.
probably do it. Go ahead.
I'm looking at you. I'm talking to Ford right now. I want you to
Oh.
look at me. I want you to look at us. I want you to listen to us. I would love, we would love to see a technician roundtable meeting again. Get with the technicians, talk with the technicians that are in your area, in your region. We're right in Dearborn. We're right here in motherland. And what not better, whether it's over a Zoom, a Skype, or whatever, if we can't be local, you know, because of what's going on. But this is the people at the top who are making all the money need to talk to their worker bees. The people at the bottom, making all the people at the top all the money. We need to have communication. There's no communication, and that needs to be brought to forefront again. We need to be talking about everything that we were talking about tonight with Ford Motor Company, and to why we are not having the technicians that we need to be working on these vehicles. I'm not saying that Rich and Mason and I are the answer to every automobile problem, and we're the best technicians on planet Earth. We are not. We're 5 dudes collectively trying to make a difference with everybody else out there that is like-minded. And I think if we get enough technicians behind us that, hey, I feel the same way you do. Hey, I feel the same way. We all have the same views. Maybe the technicians in Illinois. We need to get something going to the Blue Oval and let them know, hey, we need to have a talk. We need to change some stuff. We're for the company. We're about the company. We want to see the product succeed. But I think there needs to be some stuff changed at our level to benefit the higher up entities that are in the chain of the automotive chain, and it's we're ground zero. We see everything coming in. We're taking the brunt of the customer. We're taking the brunt of not having parts, and I don't know. I think we need to have more communication with the mothership. That's just my opinion.
To branch off what Mason said, Rod, is you know, when he was saying who comes up with this time is I was watching one of those videos from the local 701 in the IADA, the Illinois Automobile Dealers Association, and there was a senior master tech there in the video, and he was like, you know, I'm proficient at my job. I've been doing diesel work my whole entire life, but how are you going to tell me that it takes 19 hours to pull and repair and rebuild this engine, do the cylinder head and everything else on this vehicle, when I've been doing it my whole life and I'm literally one of the fastest at what I do, and it takes me 30 some hours to do it, and you're paying me 19. Somebody has to rectify this here. I'm good at what I do. I'm fast at what I do, but a lot of guys, it's taken 40 hours to do that. Yet you want to pay warranty time of 19 hours. Who gets to say that you get to cut money out of my pocket? And I'm good at what I do. I'm not slow by any means. I would probably excel compared to most guys. So how do you come up with this and then expect me to be okay with that? And I'm doing 1.5 times the amount of work that you're actually paying for.
Does that make sense?
I wouldn't be surprised if they just had an algorithm that pretty much counted every screw and bolt and everything and just added it all up and called it the time. Kind of like on the line, they just count. They jam everything in one job, kind of. I mean, there's obviously some structure or whatever, planning, whatever, but they're counting the amount of things you're doing to determine if you can do it. I wouldn't be surprised if they were just counting it. You have 1,000 bolts for this. Go ahead.
Do you guys remember when here a while back when they I guess it's actually a few years ago when they had the Focus and Fusion door latch recalls first come out and they were paying like 3 hours. Man, it took me like 2 weeks of doing these and cussing every single one of them until I finally figured out how to do them. And, we're knocking them 30, 45 minutes. Like we're coming in and out, making a killing. And then they come out with the downgraded time or whatever you want to call it. That YouTube video that they put out. I want to say it was on YouTube or it was somewhere that I'd seen. And they actually were showing how they cut the time, why they cut the time, what they cut out. And a lot of it was what they were saying was the time they cut out was the time they were giving you for walking to and from your toolbox to get tools and put bolts up and walking back and forth to the parts department. They cut the labor times from 3 hours to 1.5. They cut them in half. And
yeah, that's kind of that's how they do it in the plant.
Yeah, but I just felt like that was crazy. Like, there's no possible way I'm spending an hour and a half walking back and forth to my toolbox in the first place. Y'all knew that. So, I mean, you're just cutting time and just making up an excuse for why.
I wonder if they have a way of knowing that you guys are getting quicker and they can get some of that and they can recoup some of that time if they have some kind of time study way.
They all look at your punch times. So I mean,
I promise you, I run well plenty enough time on my stuff.
So you guys are privy to that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
how. Yeah, make sure you get your punch time in right. Don't don't do it.
A lot of stuff is through people talking about it. When if there's a job that pays 3 hours. And we get so good at it because we've been doing so many of them over and over and over again. Then, somebody brought up in the past, you don't think Ford Motor Company or Chrysler or somebody's not watching social media. They're not seeing videos that are being put out. They're not seeing technicians that are showing, oh, here's how you do this job and cut the time in half and still get paid the full time. They watch all that stuff. A lot of things, but here's the thing, just like Mason said, how long did it take him from doing that over and over and over and over again before he got good at it? Now, if you just take a standard labor session, let's just say we pull in a 93 LX notchback Mustang. We're pulling intake manifold on it, right? Notchback is because I love it. It was my favorite Mustang. And we have 3 different technicians, and they've all never seen this vehicle before. But we're going to give them a data sheet. We're going to give them an instruction list, and we're going to put them on that vehicle, technician A, B, and C. And let's see how long it takes them with following our general instructions. They've never touched anything before. The tools and everything are provided. These are senior master level techs. Go. Okay. A took 1.92 out. And then we go B. B took 2.25 and C took 1.72. And then they look at it, they average it all out, and they give a fair labor rate based on 3 guys that have never seen this before. That stuff is not going on. They're not doing a type of.
I don't think they are.
And I brought up to one of the corporate guys and kind of made him get a little squirmy or whatever. And I'm the guy that I don't have a filter, but I'm not disrespectful. So when I see these corporate guys come in with these suits and ties, I'm like, oh yeah, baby, time to go fishing. And I'll see them and I'll ask them questions and I'll put them on the spot. And a lot of times they don't even know how to answer the questions. And I'm fair. I'm not disrespectful about it. But I caught one guy and I pulled him aside and I said, let me ask you something right now. So we got a 20 C19 recall where we're doing these cameras and stuff in these vehicles, and you pay me 0.4 to pull. And I'm not saying I can't do it in 0.4, but here's what I don't get. You give me 0.3, 0.4 to reprogram modules. And now you're adding physical labor where I have to open the hatch, I have to remove the cover and stuff, I have to remove the camera, I have to install the camera, I have to put everything back and still bring that camera online doing a LIN module initialization. How in the hell are you paying me 0.4 when you just paid me 0.4 to reprogram a PCM that required no physical labor? Something is not right here. And you
had to go out to the lot to get the car. You had to go to the parts to get the part.
Something is not right with the system. The system is flawed. It is definitely flawed.
The system's not pure to where there's 3 technicians and they're averaging and then they're really figuring it out. It's more like there's some kind of computer. They know how many nuts and bolts. They know some steps. You
It's
might have some
not
steps in
about
between.
math and algorithms. It's about getting people, real people, into job positions that have been in the industry, that have not been sitting behind a computer getting their master's degree in engineering and then implementing procedures that we get, and we're looking like, whoa. Why?
Well, it's interesting on the
Why?
line, on the assembly line, they've engineered every step, movement, and touch that they want you to touch every part and do everything. They've engineered it and planned it and typed it all out. And that's how they figured it all out. But everybody kind of diverges from the actual whatever procedure and they do their own thing. And a lot of times end up doing it a lot quicker than what they've engineered behind a desk somewhere.
Well,
It's
even
pretty
at that,
interesting.
even
Well, I
at
mean,
that,
if you take a lazy guy, he'll always figure out how to do it faster because he wants to sit down again. I mean, that's literally, you just watch the lazy guy, he'll show you how to do the fastest thing.
well, yeah, I mean, I like the analogy, but I think it's more along the lines of who wants to make the most money the fastest. And if you can get it done in a faster, safer way and get paid the most amount of money, that's at the end of the week. Ideally, that's what we want. How much work can I get done to make the most amount of money in an efficiency way, still doing my job in a safe manner, taking care of my customers? There's a lot that goes into that. But
Yeah,
if I can hit, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, like you understand that you want to do the most amount of work while still being able to please your customers and make sure that you're doing a good job. I mean, there's thousands of us around the country. How many technicians do you think the same way that you do that are working right now? Because I'd be surprised if it's over half. I'd be surprised if half the technicians. I mean, it's not about making sure the car's fixed right and the customer's happy and this car's going to come back and I'm going to make some more money off of it again down the road. They don't think that way. They think, I just want to get work in and out. I don't care what happens on the back end. I just want to get it in and out. And when the dealer finally gets fed up with that over time, I mean, they just pick up, go to the next place and do the same thing over and over. Man, I've seen so many people in this industry. I've worked for 2 dealers. I've only been doing this 7 years, worked for 2 dealers. The first one I worked at for several years and come right down the road about 30 minutes to their competition where I'm at now. But I've seen so many people just come in and out. And I've just worked at 2 dealers and these are the same people. They've worked at like 15 dealers in the course of 10 years. Like what, that's
crazy.
Yeah, it's insane to me.
Where there's the honest side, there's also the dishonest side. And this is the side that nobody ever wants to talk about. I don't know if we want to get into it this segment of our
next time.
Yeah, we can save the juicy stuff for next time, but I definitely know what Mason's talking about. There are people out there that do that. There's a reason behind that. There's a reason behind why them guys do what they do and they continue to get away with it, but eventually they end up getting flagged. And Ford will end up putting a stop to it when they see a consistency of it going on. They'll say, hey, no. You don't have certification with us no more. You're done. They only put up with so much of it and then they're gone.
What about the shops that are shop competent though? I mean, like both of the dealers I've worked at shop competent, like we don't like I was talking about earlier, I'm one of 2 certified techs in our shop. I'm not there isn't but 2 of us. But everybody can kind of do it because we're shop competent. So I feel like that's one issue you run into there with that kind of argument. But I get what you're saying. If you're not shop competent, those certifications make a real big deal. So
for people, basically explain that for people that are in the comment section that don't know what you're talking about.
So shop competency is so basically if you keep your surveys up with Ford to their standard, basically you're fix it right first time rate, you're keeping customers happy and they can see what I don't know exactly what the percentage is. Ain't it like 90% fix it right the first time rate or something like that? One of y'all correct me if y'all know the answer to that. I don't know off the top of my head either, but basically if you become shop competent, any person in the dealer can do any particular repair. Also their certifications, as long as you have someone in the shop that is certified in that category. It's the way that it's the definition that I understand.
Yep. That's correct.
you may have somebody working on your vehicle when you go to the dealer in a shop like that. And I'm not saying they don't know how to do it, but maybe they haven't even been certified in that yet. Maybe they haven't even been to school for that yet they still know how to do it. As long as your shop competencies up, as long as you have enough certified technicians in these categories to say we actually have the certifications on file to justify this warranty repair. We do have a competent technician. We can go ahead and perform this repair. Now, there were years ago where Ford was getting away from that, and they said we're tired of having dealers be lazy in that category and abuse it. We want more technicians in school. We want more technicians certified. We feel that it's only right to the manufacturer, the dealership, and the customer in general, where not only are they competent, they need to be certified in these areas as well. But they found that it was so hard getting these school slots available and filled, where the next open session for an automatic transmission class or something new that came out is in Texas, and it's 2 weeks away, and that class is already filled up, and the next one after that's filled up, and after that's filled up. So Ford said, well, we can't take that competency, that right that we're giving the shop away from them, because then there would be no work. We couldn't get cars fixed at that point. So we have to have some level of shop competency. So when these vehicles do come in, they are getting repaired, and at least there's somebody there that's certified. They were going to make it to where all technicians, if you're working on that, you have to be certified to work on that. And it's the same way with like Nissan. I've spoke recently about Nissan. A lot of the dealerships don't have the L3 or heavy duty 3500 line certified technicians to work on their bigger stuff. So if you're not certified, you're not working on it.
Yeah,
Right.
I actually used to work for Chrysler. I would just go say real quick. I actually used to work at a Ford Chrysler dealer. You know, a lot of Dodges and stuff like that coming in and out. And there's a lot different from Ford on the competency side. You know, each so you know, every base part number they have, if you run that part number, it gives you a level of certification that you have to do that repair. And I've actually seen guys in the shop do something that they are not certified for. Warranty clerk runs that repair under their ID, and it gets kicked. It gets kicked because they weren't certified to do that repair, and the dealership loses that money. I mean, $2,000 or $3,000, $4,000 repairs getting kicked because they gave it to somebody who did not have the certification. And that's one thing I am glad about Ford with the shop competency, is that you don't have to worry about that as much. You know, and like you said, you know, Ford boss, I mean, how much do those certifications really mean? I mean, does that really show your level of or capability of, you know, how much you know about fixing that car?
Right.
Because for me, I mean, what really brings it home for me is, you know, doing it every single day. It's kind of what we talked about this whole video. You do it every single day, day in and day out, and you really, really just get efficient and really good at doing that, regardless if you've ever even seen the inside of a Ford classroom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's good stuff, man. That's it's good stuff for all of us that we need to bring to light and let you know, get this ship turned around and headed in the right direction. And we're starting doing it right meow. I want to thank Mason for joining us tonight. Newcomer, appreciate you. Welcome back anytime. We'd love to talk vehicles.
Really enjoyed it.
If all of you guys still listening or going to be watching live stream, make sure to check out Mason's channel, Flying Wrenches Automotive, technician in the southern part of the United States, doing it. So if you guys are in that area and need to get vehicle service, reach out to him. Ford Boss Me, I'm sure I'll talk to you tomorrow. DS Trucks, Sleepy DS, Cody, appreciate everybody. Thanks so much for watching, all the members. Make sure to stay close because I may pick you as an additive recipient. So thanks so much, you guys, and we will catch you on Friday.